You're listening to the Late Night Football Show with your host, Rohit Singh. That's me. On this show, we talk about some of the most seriously silly topics from the world of football for your entertainment and enjoyment. Please remember that the show is BYOL. Bring your own laughs, since we don't have the budget for a studio audience. Happy listening. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. This is our Champions League Matchday 1, Day 1 roundup. And we're going to talk about, we're basically only going to talk about the Chelsea and Manchester United games because that's all the fans we have, unfortunately. But we'll do a quick roundup of the other games as well. And we'll have a bit of a look ahead to tomorrow's games as well. So we'll do a quick roundup here. And joining me back in the show, we've got Angad once again. Angad, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's great to have you back again. And yeah, we had you. Well, it's good. You have a bit of a lucky charm because I think the last time you were on the show was when United won 3-2 against Brighton. Now you're back again, and United have won again. So, and I remember, I think the
Yeah,
last time it was also Chelsea had drawn 3-3
yes,
with West
yes.
Brom, and again draw.
And
So
another
yeah,
draw today, yeah.
yeah. So you're kind of like a good luck charm for Manchester United. We should have you on on the reaction shows more often. Okay, but let's start with the Chelsea game. Let's start with that
Yeah,
one.
okay.
And obviously, I didn't watch the match, but
Yeah.
it was interesting. What is your thoughts on the lineup when you saw the starting lineup? Let's begin with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a bit surprised to be honest with the lineup because I mean Frank had the whole team was ready today.
Mm-hmm.
You could basically select your best 11,
Mm-hmm.
and I was quite surprised he still went with Mount playing on the left wing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yes, I know. Yes, I noticed that. Yep.
Yeah, and the, I mean that's the thing where you're playing Mount on the left, you're playing Pulisic on the right. That was
Mm-hmm.
my first glaring concern really, because I think even in a couple of forums that I was reading, a lot of Chelsea supporters have been questioning that decision in particular. Like it's like Mount has become undroppable from this side. Uh, it's it's a bit weird. I mean, yeah, he's obviously he definitely sees him in training every day, and I'm sure he sees some attributes which he, I guess, feel are important for the setup. But I think Pulisic is he's your classic left winger, right-footed left winger. That is his uh, starting position, to be honest. And Mount, if you see, Mount is he's more suited to play as a number eight, and he
Mm-hmm.
has to be playing more centrally. I
Yeah.
think that was my first concern. I was actually surprised that he started with Reece James today. I was thinking he might start with Aspilicueta on the right. Um, but I think apart from that, the team picked itself. I think Jorginho has been starting a few games off late, and he's looked good. I've been quite critical of him before, but he's been playing well. And I think he's getting that extra protection from Kante as well. Now that Kante is in, he's up to speed. So yeah, with the lineup, I was that was the only
Was it? Yeah. Was it him being a bit defensively cautious because obviously Chelsea have an issue at the back,
yeah.
and you bring in Mount, you bring him, because he offers you that little bit of defensive protection. Was it
He's
just that?
see. I mean,
Particularly because we had to play a back three, right? So
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the thing is now, now that you have Silva back, and when I watched today's game, it was very evident. You could tell from the scoreline, Chelsea have conceded 0 goals. So the last time Silva played, it was the same. They played Palace, and that's the thing. I think he's made that big difference. I think
Hmm.
even when Chelsea signed Silva, there were a lot of questions. Because he's 36 years old. Is he going to be able to adapt? And obviously at that age in the Premier League, obviously today is a Champions League game, but then he's eventually, I think Frank's going to rely a lot on Thiago Silva, because you could see today he was marshalling the defense, and he was literally telling everybody, you should if they need to fall back, or he was literally commanding the back line. And and you could see. I mean, Sevilla are a really good team. I think I've properly watched them for the first time today. I mean, obviously, I've seen a few clips in the past and the last, I think, the Europa League final games.
Mm-hmm.
But today I was more interested today because obviously this is the opening Champions League game. You know, it's a big game for this
Yeah.
group. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, these are obviously the two favorites to go through to the round of 16 from
Yeah.
this group.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and it could have been, you know, it would have been a good early statement from either teams. You know,
Yeah.
but but I could tell today, you know, Chelsea looked like a lot of positives from today's game is obviously they looked defensively, they looked organized today.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
individual errors that have been mentioned a lot of late, they were, you know, they weren't there today. And a couple of good saves from the keeper as well, from Mendy. So I think there's a lot of stability now, and I think they'll take this clean sheet as a win. I think Frank will take that as a win because you could see there was a sigh of relief, you know, when the final whistle was blown. He was like, right, because right at the very end, you know, there was you know, the ball was played out wide from Chilwell, which was not needed, and then they had like literally 30 seconds where they could have had that one last chance to attack. And I think they had a corner in the very last 9 minutes of the game. So I think Frank was a bit nervous because obviously all the goals that Chelsea have been conceding, you know, majority of them have been from crosses, from set pieces, and that's been Chelsea's weakness. And you could tell Frank was nervous in those moments. But I think the defense did well. I think the team put in a good shift.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it was a good game. I mean, it was not an exciting game, to be honest. Obviously, the scoreline does suggest that. Um, but I think on the whole, Chelsea were toe to toe with Sevilla. Although, if you personally ask me, I would say Sevilla were a tad bit better. I wouldn't say it was a 50-50, but
Yep.
it was still, you know, they were still on top of Chelsea, but there weren't any big chances really.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it was an okay game. I would say both teams would be happy to walk away with the point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it could possibly be that he's holding players back for the United game because that some may say that might be the bigger game. We
It,
don't know.
it definitely will be, because
Yeah. Well,
I mean, no matter what happens, I think for Chelsea, I think the Premier League uh, is always going to be the first priority. And I was actually quite surprised that he picked most of the playing 11 today, which I would see playing on Saturday.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I guess you know they're probably going to get used to it now with the matches coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
The fitness levels, I think they're coming back now. Because obviously the whole we are still in the preseason thing. That's out of the window now, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
so the football season's up and running again, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's definitely you can start to see the levels going up. But good news for Chelsea, as you said, is that they kept a clean sheet, which
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah,
are hard to come by. So that
yeah,
was my one take was that Chelsea kept a clean sheet. So
yeah.
it looks good. Interesting.
Hmm.
So it looks like the first choice pairing will be Zuma and Thiago Silva. I guess that
Yeah,
it looks like that's going to be the way forward.
yeah,
And you would assume that the third person should be Tomori, right? It shouldn't be Christensen.
yeah. No,
Um,
no, no. I mean, if Christensen is playing, I wouldn't pair him with Zuma.
mhm,
Uh, It's just, I mean, there's no chemistry there. I think even last season when Zuma, he played with Tomori. That was when Chelsea had that winning streak. Just the little small streak that they had. I think it was 7-8 games. Um, that's when these two were playing together, and that's when Chelsea looked defensively okay. I mean, they've not been great, obviously, but okay was when these two were paired together. And I don't see Rudiger getting into this squad anytime.
sure.
Um, Maybe fourth choice would be Christensen, but the thing is, there's this narrative that the Chelsea board really rates Christensen highly, and they've obviously they've seen that in the past where they've let these young players go out, where they've maybe not
Hmm.
been that great, and you've seen these players have really showed their potential outside, and they really fear that this might happen with Christensen because he's a good defender. It's just that he has, I'd call it like a brain
Moments.
fart.
He
Yeah,
has these moments, right, where you just lose
yeah,
concept.
yeah. It's a lapse of concentration.
He's a bit like Bai,
And
I guess, in that sense. Less injury prone, but yeah, it's a bit like
yeah,
Bai. Bai is a good defender, but you just know
yeah.
that at some point he's going to do something where you're going to be like,
Something silly, yeah, which
still,
which is
yeah.
very uncharacteristic. He'll do good work for like 80 minutes, and those 1 or 2 minutes are going to spoil the whole game. That's the sort of player that he is at the minute.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, going forward, I think yeah, it would be Zuma and Silva, and it depends on how much Silva can keep up with the pace of the league. Because
Yep.
um, I don't think he can play 2 games a week. There's no chance.
Yeah, I do think he will start against United. Probably will not start the next Champions League game. The probably but
Yeah, yeah.
I think fitness wise, I think he will start. He has to start the next game.
He has to start the next
Yeah,
game. Yeah,
as sad as
absolutely.
that is, yeah, he probably has to start that one.
Yeah.
But final thoughts. Do you think it's a point gained or do you think it's 2 points dropped from Chelsea's point of view?
No, I think it's a point gain to be honest. Because I mean, Sevilla are the toughest team in this group, and if you put them, because I think they would top this group. That's what I personally think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and they did look dangerous today. I mean, uh, Chelsea had their moments. I think it wasn't the best game for Werner. He had a poor first touch today. There was something that was not going on for him. Um, Second half, Frank made a couple of changes actually. He took out Mount and
Mm-hmm.
got in Ziyech. And as soon as the second half started, actually, Pulisic moved on the left side, and immediately Chelsea's game changed. You could see that they were more threatening, more attacking. Uh, and then I think he got rid of Jorginho for Kovacic, and that made a big difference. Because he's like a press resistant player, so to speak. So he's really good with the ball.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, apart from that, it was it was just a nothing game to be honest. There wasn't much
It
into it. It
yeah.
was just yeah, I would say 1 point gain, but at the end, I think Chelsea would be satisfied with a draw. Because
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed from his selections, it looks like he was wanting to basically make sure that Chelsea didn't concede, at least in the opening
concede,
half or
yes,
whatever,
yes,
and then maybe build a
absolutely,
platform for the second half to attack. Maybe that was the idea. We don't know, but probably
yeah,
that is what he
probably,
was looking for. But
yeah.
and on good news in Group E, the other game between Rennes and Krasnodar also ended in a draw. One.
Also ended up with a draw, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like they're not going to be behind the cosh as such, and you'd expect them to at least win the four or the other five games that they've got. They should get enough
Yeah,
to get out of
I
the group.
mean,
It's not, yeah.
all I'd say is if Chelsea can manage to come out on top of this group, then I think they'd have a better chance in the round of
Hmm.
16. Because if you come second, you see what happens in the round of 16. You either get a Bayern
Yeah.
or you get a Madrid, and then you get spanked. You know, and that takes the confidence away because it's how far can this group go, and for them to move further up in the to reach the quarterfinal, they're
Hmm.
going to have to finish on top of this group. That's the most important
For sure.
thing.
Yeah, that's
Let's
definitely
see.
that's it's between
Yeah,
them and Sevilla. But there's still lots of games there, and um, we'll see what happens. I think Sevilla have started the season well in La Liga, but
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
there is,
I think there
there's
was a
always.
stat which the commentator said actually. It was, I think at halftime, he said that in the last 25, 26 games, Sevilla have just lost 2 games.
Yeah, they are pretty good. They know how this whole thing works. I think for most
Yeah.
teams, European teams, so they're just hoping that Sevilla finish second so that they don't have to face them in the Europa League. That's that's where it's good. It ends up being a problem for Europa League teams, but they have a good chance as well. Sevilla finishing second. We'll move on to
Mm.
Group H now, and we'll talk about Manchester United against PSG.
Yeah.
Blockbuster marquee game today, and it was interesting. I mean, the Newcastle game aside, I don't. It was a little bit of a problem for United because they didn't have. They had technically only one recognized centre half in Victor Lindelof.
Yeah.
But because Axel Tuanzebe hasn't played for almost a year. Luke
Yeah.
Shaw,
I was quite surprised,
yeah,
to be honest.
yes,
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised that he started with Tuanzebe because he really didn't have any other choice. I don't think he would have started with him, but at the same time, he's very highly rated, so I wasn't surprised that he started. I was a bit surprised, but I wasn't necessarily like shocked, like, oh, he's actually
Yeah.
gone. It's like, yeah, okay, you put him on. I wasn't surprised that it was a black back five because it always seemed like he was going to play a back five just based on
Yeah.
what they didn't have. Um,
Yeah.
and it was an interesting game. That first goal is again a penalty, which it's come running through.
Yeah. I guess it was a fair penalty then.
Yes, they're all legit penalties usually. Then 99% of them are legit penalties. It's just that people, for some reason, feel like a penalty should not be given to United because it's Manchester United. I do not know. There were a few very good performances in that game, and one thing that I noticed is that he had clear. I think he had McTominay doing a marking job on Neymar, which wasn't working. In fact, I think he had both McTominay and Fred telling both of them that you're going to track Neymar. One of you's got to keep track of Neymar no matter what. So one loses, the other one
Yeah.
has to do it. So that was very tactical. And I think he had Axel and Van Bissaka doing the same on Mbappe. It was like one. So it was
Mm.
basically, I think he told the two midfielders that you're tracking Neymar, and he told the two defenders on the right side you're tracking Mbappe. So this is your job to do. And they both did it. They both did it pretty well. I think. I think ultimately that was it was good.
Because those are the dangerous channels for PSG, because all the creative play, all the attacking play is going to flow through them in
Yeah, they
some way or
actually
the
had
other.
a very functional midfield because it was Gay, Herrera, and
Pereira.
forgetting who the third one was now.
Pereira.
No, Gay, Herrera, and then there was a third midfielder whose name I'm forgetting now. It was who was the third midfielder? If I may quickly, maybe I can check it out.
Yeah.
I believe because it might have been. Um, oh, trying to look through the match report here. It was. Well, wasn't it Maria? Oh, I think this was Danilo. I think it was Danilo was the third midfielder. Uh,
Right. Okay.
Herrera Pereira, and yeah, so it was a very functional midfield. It wasn't like a creative midfield. So all of that creativity was going to come from Neymar, Mbappe, and Di Maria. That was where they were going through. I think that was a mistake. I think if they had put a decent creative midfield, I don't know if they had any on the bench because I know they've been affected by COVID, but a decent creative midfield in the middle
Right. Okay.
might have exploited the spaces because if you got two midfielders marking, if you got four players basically marking two players, then there's a lot of space to be exploited. But I mean, it was a calculated
Mm.
risk. What was
Yeah.
interesting about so what was interesting is that a lot of people say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not tactically astute. A lot of people say that he's, there's all sorts of things, a PE teacher and all of that. But he actually did a pretty good tactical job today. I thought like he had a clear plan of what he wanted to do. They
Yeah.
executed it well because PSG's goal came to an own goal. It wasn't the goal that they scored. It wasn't even a great corner, to be honest. It didn't even beat the first man. And Martial just decided, you know what, I'll give them a goal. I haven't scored a goal this season, so I'll just score one. Except he scored in his own net. But it was an interest. It was an interesting game. But with PSG, there's always this feeling, isn't it, that there's something lacking mentally. I mean, I know they got to the final
Right.
last year. You just feel that they have got all this talent. It just feels that there's that little bit of that final step that for some reason either they
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
or they can't take it. I don't know.
They don't look that fluid, to be honest. I mean, with the talent that they have, I think sometimes they'll run over teams like 5, 6, 7, 8. You can
Mhm.
call it whatever. On their day, they can destroy any team, to be honest. But I think on the European stage, honestly, I think I don't know if you would agree to that, but I've had this discussion with my colleagues earlier,
Mhm.
and what they think is, PSG is not challenged in the league.
Mhm.
So what happens is, when they are not challenged, they can go out and execute their plans, obviously. because they have that kind of talent. But when they come on the European stage, people actually, they study them. They know, they know where what their strengths are. Obviously, weaknesses are not many in that team, to be honest, but they know where their strengths are. So I think people try and counter that.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Hmm.
like you stop them from scoring. It's not like how we are going to attack them, but it's like how you how you're going to set up and defend against them. So I think once teams can get a hang of that, then it's doable. It's not because obviously they're a big name. They've got all that talent, but it's just that like you said, that the final
Yeah.
piece of the puzzle maybe, or that's something. Yeah, definitely that's missing. I think they're not challenged enough in the league.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, it is of course a mentality shift as well, where you're going against in a game where you know you're gonna have to win, where you're going to win. Whereas in European games, you're not always looking for full throttle,
Oh,
100 miles an hour game. You sometimes have to take a step back. Game management is also important, like understanding when you can pick your moments, which is easier in the French league for a team of PSG's quality, but it's not the same in Europe. But that being said, it was a good performance from United. Brave decision as well. He didn't pick Paul Pogba again,
yeah, I was quite surprised to be honest.
but that
It's the
was
second
shocking.
game in a row.
I'm
Second
sorry.
game in a row. Is that correct?
Second game, yeah, second game in a row he comes off the bench. That was shocking. That was a shocking decision because I was like, he's rest. I didn't think he was dropped against Newcastle. I thought he was rested because PSG
That's it.
obviously had bigger games. But
Yeah,
now you can say he was dropped because if you don't pick him for PSG, that means he's dropped. But that being said, I
he's
think he had a clear plan of what he wanted to do in this game,
right.
and Paul Pogba would, for all his talent, he would not have been able to execute that game plan. I do think that this is the second game where I've seen him play on the left wing, so it's quite possible that he's now seeing him as one of those creative left wingers, much like how he
Yeah.
sees Van de Beek as well as a creative winger. So maybe that is a new position for him. It's not good for Paul Pogba, to be honest, to always be keeping
No.
switching positions. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but that's if you cannot do the role that a certain position demands, the only option is to then try something else. So I see that. But
Yeah.
he was actually good when he came on. He got the assist for Rashford's goal. Rashford's goal was brilliant. I didn't
Yeah.
expect him to go in.
I need
But
to
it had
watch
to be
that. Yeah.
brilliant because Kilo Navas is an amazing goalkeeper. I was watching him, like he's just amazing. Like I mean,
Oh,
the mistake he made on the penalty, but where he was off the line, he saved that penalty. I was like, oh, it's just Navas, but he's a very good goalkeeper. I think he's amazing. And Rashford's
yeah.
shot was it needed to be that good to beat him. But yeah, but that was one thing that I will say though on this game is Axel Tuanzebe. I think if he stays injury fit, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but he has been talked about as a big talent. I think since even when Louis van Gaal was manager, so that's about 5 years ago.
Okay.
He's been talked
Wow.
about as
Okay.
this really big talent that was coming through, and he's had a few setbacks with injuries. So if he stays injury free,
Mm.
not only will he be first choice for Man United, I don't think that's a debate. He will be by the end of the season. He will go with England to the Euros as well because they need good defenders.
Oh,
So he will go if
yeah.
he's fit. The problem is, will he stay fit? Because that we don't know the answer.
Yeah.
So he's just
Yeah.
got to work on that, on his fitness, and if he does, then he'll be a good defender. He's definitely very very astute, very positionally. He kept Mbappe quiet. I think that's. And I know a lot
That's
of people don't rate him. I know some people rate him, but still managing to keep him quiet for 90 minutes is amazing.
well.
But on
That's
that note,
yeah.
yeah, but for PSG, the issue now is that this is a very tough group because they've also got Leipzig, who won their match as expected,
One today.
Istanbul
Yeah.
2-0. The next game is going to be crucial because, I mean, the good thing for PSG is they'll probably beat Istanbul and then they'll probably hope. I mean, I don't know what's a good result for PSG. Probably bet, because is it better? Maybe PSG winning is a good result. No, sorry, maybe Leipzig winning is a good result. Maybe United winning. I don't know if a draw really helps them, but it could get tight. But they could be in a situation where they could start to have to play catch up, and it's not ideal. But Leipzig look a good team. They look a decent team. Nagelsmann is a good
Yeah.
coach. They are top of
Yeah.
Bundesliga as well. It's tough. It's going to be a tight. What's the interesting for United is that they'll have two back-to-back games against Istanbul while PSG and Leipzig play each other. So if they win, if they get a positive result next week, then they have a chance to really open up a lead by the time we go into game week 5. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
benefit.
And then there's that pressure. That there's
Yeah.
that pressure to win, and sometimes it can get to you. So you never know.
Yeah, that's the benefit. I think that's a good advantage, particularly with the away win now that they've got. And that's interesting about the Champions League, right? You
That's a
have
big one.
some
Yeah.
time to catch up, but then you don't have a lot of time as well. So it really starts to open up, but not open up at the same time. You've got to be very careful. On that note, we're going to talk about a few other games. I think the shock result of today was Lazio 3, Dortmund 1. And
Yeah,
people say it's a shock, but it's not actually a shock if you watch Dortmund. They've
yeah,
been scratchy this season. They haven't been very good, and have not been at their fluent best. Lazio have been
yeah.
very good. They've been consistent, I think, since last year. They've been Inzaghi
Since
has been
last year, yeah, yeah,
so it's not very shocking, but I don't know what's. I mean, is it? And this is just a theory, man. Is there a situation with Sancho? Because he wanted to go to Manchester United. I think there was no secret
yeah,
about that. United
absolutely.
basically, did everything that they could to tell Sancho, "We're gonna make a big bid for you," but they didn't. Is that mentally affecting him in some way? Where maybe he feels that he should not be here, but then he's here. I know he's a professional and he's probably giving it his best, but mentally it
Yeah,
affects you, doesn't it? When such a big deal falls through.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, it's obviously going to play on the player's mind, and sometimes, like they say, they could be a distraction. But at the end of the day, I think they are professionals, and obviously, it's a collective, it's a collective sport, really. So it can't be just down to one person.
Hmm.
Uh, but eh, yeah, I mean, it's a hard one, but I think he knows his value. He respects uh, Dortmund and everything that they've done for him. The superstar that he is today, obviously, is thanks to them.
Yeah.
So I guess they just need a few more games, and I think they'll be back to their best. Obviously, Haaland is looking amazing. He's
Yep.
a phenomenal talent,
He's
and
scoring
and it's
goals. He still manages to
it's
score a goal, even in a loss. Yeah.
yeah, he's
No,
just
they don't have lack of depth because they've still got Reina on the bench. They've got Brandt on. They had Brandt on the bench, Reina on the bench. They've got Rainier as well.
yeah,
They've got players that can come in. So it's not like they're reliant on Sancho. They're not.
no,
And so yeah, it's something for him to think about. Like I mean, if he's not in the right frame of mind, he could find himself out of the team
yeah.
very quickly. So he's
It'll be a good game to watch, to be honest.
Mhm.
At
Yeah.
least if we can get like extended highlights, just to see if maybe on that day it could be that Lazio were just uh, good for them.
Yeah, no, that's a very good team. I think we've been following them on,
So,
I've been following them on Sevilla.
yeah, which is why we said exactly why we said it's not a shock result, to be honest. It's like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's something
Not
that
not
we,
something.
yeah, you expect a high scoring game, and maybe came out.
Yeah,
But Ciro Immobile seems to also be a good striker. He scores goals for Lazio. A lot of people say he's not very technical, but he can score goals. So
he can score goals. Yeah,
yeah, if you can do that, then that's good. Another result, not shocking, but Barcelona winning 5-1 against Ferenc,
5-1. Yeah.
and Juventus winning as expected against Dynamo
And
Kiev 2-0.
Morata brace.
Yes, Morata brace. I mean, yeah, there you go. Chelsea, ex-Chelsea player Morata, and scoring goals for Juventus. Why is he not doing that?
Juventus.
Why was he not doing that for Chelsea? No.
I think he was busy falling over. He's,
Well, I don't know about that, but no, but it's yeah, it's good for Morata. I think it's good for him that he used to be
yeah,
at Juventus before he's got to a Champions League final with them. So uh,
yeah, yeah.
so he's definitely a good player. There's a good player in there. I guess the style of Serie A may suit him more. I mean, it's only Dynamo Kiev, so
Yeah, I mean, he's. I think he wasn't suitable to the Premier League. I'd say. Sometimes you find strikers that will come here and like literally they'll light the league up on fire, and
mhm.
sometimes they will struggle. High profile uh, moves have struggled in the past. Um, but that's just how it is. I think the league was a bit too physical for him,
Yeah,
and
sure.
and obviously, I mean, Juventus is obviously they're a stronger team. They've got better players around them, and in Italy, I think it's not that competitive, to be honest.
Well, it is
So
competitive this year, though. I feel. I mean, it's not competitive in general. That is true. I think it's just slower pace, and a lot of
just the
people, a lot
just
of
the top teams,
strikers.
just the top. I would say the top 5, 6 teams maybe, but apart from that, I mean, if you can't compare that to the Premier League, because
Oh no, 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 no. I don't think any league compares to the Premier League in terms of the depth
yeah,
of quality. But the
yeah,
one thing is that a lot of strikers do get goals even up to their late 30s. I mean, Quagliarella, Zlatan is still slotting them in at 38, 39. So I mean, I'm not saying that
yeah,
these are bad players. I'm just saying that it's much more easier to be a striker and an,
yeah,
an older striker that in Serie A as compared to being that in England or in the Premier League. But Barcelona beating, I mean, it's a big season for Barcelona. I think they need a good showing in the league and
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
league if they want to have any
Absolutely,
hope of keeping
absolutely.
Messi.
They've been on the front of the newspapers for all the wrong reasons. and I think it'd be a very important season, especially for Coman,
Hmm.
because he's let Rakitic and Suarez leave. Uh,
Yep.
big decisions, like really big decisions. But
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. And well, the good news for Dortmund is that in Group F, even though they lost, the other team who's supposedly going to challenge them, Zenit, also lost to Bruges. Bruges picked up a surprise win over Zenit.
Oh, okay.
So Bruges, I mean, it's a very competitive group, but you would expect that probably Bruges were probably fourth best in that group. So the fact that
Yeah, yeah,
they won is actually good news for Dortmund because it gives them that at least. I mean, there's still 3 points, but at least it means that
yeah,
it's not Zenit who
yeah.
have.
Because then it would be closer to compete for the
Yeah,
second spot.
it'll be easier for them. So it's actually not that bad a defeat, and I guess it's an away defeat against probably the second best team. So it's not such a bad thing for
Yeah,
Dortmund. But interesting. We're gonna do a quick look for a few of tomorrow's games. I know we're running out of time. I don't want to make this too long. But big news tomorrow is Liverpool. Apparently they don't have Van Dijk and now they don't have Matip. So they basically have one centre half,
mm.
fit senior centre half. They have a few more. They have one fit senior centre half. What's going to be the plan for tomorrow? It's going to be. I mean, Klopp would probably be thinking, I just want. I don't want this game right now, but he's going
Yeah.
to think of something. Because they're playing Ajax. So of all teams to play, they're playing Ajax, a team that plays heavy.
Not an easy game.
Hmm. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? Klopp's mindset will be going into that game. I think they can't feel sorry for themselves, but they just got to find a way to make.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
Fabinho,
They'll have to dig deep now. That's
Mhm.
just how it is.
I guess Fabinho will start the center half now.
Fabinho, yeah, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, I don't think he's got any other choice really.
Hmm.
Uh, but
Yeah.
I think this is the first time. The first time I think Liverpool are going to feel that sting
For sure.
of injuries. Because last year they've been pretty much whole season they've been touchwood they've been injury free except for maybe a few games where Mane was out.
Yeah.
But most of the team has been injury free.
Mhm.
And this year you can see already with Van Dijk not there and Allison not there.
Oh yeah, that's a big miss. Allison, I think, is a
Uh,
bigger miss than Van Dijk.
that's what happens. That's what happens. Their keepers made a mistake. Now, how how often do you see that? You don't see that. But now they'll feel how we feel when we play with Kappa at the back. It's like now
Oh,
it's literally it is that. It is that. I've been saying this. It's like I keep going on about it, and people have said no, it's not just Kappa. It's the tactics. It's the back line. Frank keeps stopping and changing. I said, no, it's the keeper. You change the keeper, you'll see the difference. I mean, in that game, it's only Allison wasn't there. I mean, Van Dijk was still there. But obviously, he got injured early. But then you could tell straight away, even that earlier game against was Aston Villa.
yep.
Van Dijk was there for that game, right?
Mhm.
So
Well, I mean,
he's
I would say shoehorn comment of the episode goes to you, but I think that's the first time you had someone shoehorn something into something else. Like, we're talking about Liverpool and then you bring in Kepa. But nonetheless, no, I get your point. I get your point. Adrian, I mean, we've made a lot of fun of Adrian as well on this show. But
yeah.
it will be an interesting watch, Liverpool. I suppose, I mean, for Liverpool fans, I guess at this point, they probably would feel like if we can focus on the league, maybe they might think about prioritization. But again, they have a pretty competitive group as well because they've also got, if I'm not mistaken, they're also having two other Atlanta as well in that group, and they're a team
Oh,
that.
Atlanta's looking good.
Well,
They've
they
been
did get
looking
hammered by
like
Napoli over the weekend, so they'll be looking
yeah,
to bounce back. But they score a lot of goals and they concede a lot of goals. So it's like
yeah.
Atlanta is, yeah, it's like Chelsea. It's a bit like Chelsea.
Like Chelsea. Yeah, I was gonna
Yes,
say that. Yeah,
like
pretty
Chelsea,
much.
it's
Yeah,
just like whatever, it doesn't matter. I just want to entertain. So that would be a competitive group as well. And Real Madrid also open up against Shakhtar. I think the blockbuster game though is going to be Bayern against Atletico. I think that would be. I think if ever there was a clash of styles, I think that is probably that was one.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's a free flowing attack versus a team that doesn't want to attack. It's like, well, happy, yeah. But that would be an interesting game. I think tactics wise, I mean, we've talked about Simeone. I guess one of the things that he has to work on is the fact that 1-0s don't work anymore, right? It's not like you can score a goal, especially in Bayern. You cannot do that where you say, I'm going to score a goal and then try to shut up shop.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
needs to adapt. I think he needs to adapt, right? Where you can't just say,
Yeah, I think he's been in that hole for too long now.
yeah,
It's like the whole defensive solidity and parking the bus sort of thing. That's been. associated with Simeone, and I think he does have good players. I mean, he's got creative players in there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially this year, he's got a goal scorer in Suarez as well.
Yeah.
They've got Felix, so they've got good players in there.
Yeah, they do. They've good offensive players. It's just for some reason I don't know whether it's lack of trust, whether it's lack of the belief in the players. Whatever it is, he just refuses to say, "I'm gonna go attack." He just feels like it's like reverting back to what he knows, which is to defend. But it will not work against Bayern the way that they play.
No,
Probably be
no,
suicidal
definitely
to
not.
do that. So he's
Yeah,
going to have to come up with something different. That being said, though, they did beat Liverpool using those tactics, and Liverpool don't play too dissimilar to Bayern, so maybe it will work. We don't know. But
yeah. It depends on that day, because I mean, even when they beat Liverpool, it wasn't like Liverpool were bad or anything. It's just that on that day, maybe your tactics will work. It's not going to work every time.
mm-hmm.
You know? And especially with this Bayern team that's literally tearing teams apart, it'll be hard.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah,
Good one to
it'll
watch.
be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting watch. It could very well be like a really boring KG game where Atletico completely nullify Bayern, or they just like open the floodgates.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I think there's another one, Man City against Porto. I mean, there's not much to talk about. Man City should top their group. All the easy draws that they keep getting every year. Nobody knows how they get it. They get it. I mean, it's becoming a recurring theme now. This is like it's a straightforward group for them. And I was saying, everybody else is doing everything that they can to help City win the title, except City themselves.
If
You've
they
got
do
Liverpool
themselves,
injuries, Liverpool imploding. You've got the UEFA handing them easy draws that they don't have to worry about midweek games. I mean, it's everybody
yeah.
else is doing it except City. Just go and.
And the biggest one, Aguero is fit now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah, he
the
probably will
biggest.
not start though. I would assume that they will probably rest him for the weekend. You think they'll start him?
No, I think they'll keep him for the league. They might not use him straight away in the Champions League. So he
Yeah,
might come off the bench.
tomorrow. Yeah,
But I
probably a
think
bench role.
he'll definitely miss De Bruyne. Do you know how long he's going to be out for? Any idea?
Not that I'm aware of, no. But maybe you can do a quick check. Let us see. I don't think it has been. I don't think any timeline has been put on it. I think for a reason they have not put any timeline on it.
Yeah.
But there was an injury update. So Laporte also is injured apparently. That's great. So yes, so they will not have De Bruyne, Aymeric Laporte, Benjamin Mendy, and Gabriel Jesus. We know Mendy is going to be missing. Mendy misses every game, it seems. So he's out. So there's no update yet on how long he's going to be out for, but they've just said he's out for this game. So
Yeah,
it
'cause
could be a miss, but I think Porto will be fine. I don't think they'll have to worry too much about Porto because they should have enough quality.
no. I mean, not for the Champions League. I'm
Yeah,
not worried
not for the
about
group
that.
stage.
They've got enough quality to top that league, without having to play their
Big guns.
star players. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
But
But anyway, it will be a good evening of action that will be coming up tomorrow. We probably won't be doing a match reaction for tomorrow, but we sort of covered that today a little bit. But thank you so much, Angad, for joining me.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
On the show. Yes, and for covering a match that I didn't watch. But it's really good to hear your views on that. Please remember to like and share the video if you enjoyed this episode. Please also remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're close to 110 subscribers, so please help us get to that mark of 110. So please subscribe. Also tell your friends and family to subscribe if they're interested. And even if they're not interested, why not? Please subscribe to the channel as well. But thank you for watching. Have a good evening, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to that episode of Late Night Football. We need your help to grow this channel, so if you've been enjoying the show thus far, please do like and subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, drinking buddies, fellow football fans, and anybody else you know or don't know. We'd really appreciate it. Please also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We have the links in the description below, and spread the word about us. Take care.